everyone doing? How is everyone doing? What is going on? So Monday, solid day yesterday, pretty good setups. Those SPY puts ended up going like 200%. But you know, I just took those profits. We got like 60% in a few minutes. So, you know, I'm never going to turn that down. Never going to turn that down. Going on Seablast and everyone else. Downside today, I don't know, maybe, you know, I'm favoring, or you know, yesterday at close I was favoring downside. Right, if we inverse the chart, right, take a look at this, right? So it's a little tough to read, right? I have a lot on the chart, or let me, you know, go like this, right? So from the high here, right, the trend line that rejects, you know, this trend line from the high all the way down below, right? This rejects numerous times, right? And then we broke above and then we bounced off of it perfectly, right? This is the inverse chart. So, you know, just make sure you realize that, right? We have multiple bounces off this bottom trend line here, right? And we rejected a few times here as well, right? So this looks like a continuation pattern, right? So we have higher lows, we have the breakout, right? And then, right, higher lows, lower highs, looks like a continuation pattern to the upside on the inverse chart, right? So if we inverse this, right, we have the support, and then we have, you know, this consolidation below, right? So, you know, it's sort of a continuation pattern. It can absolutely break out to the upside. Also, the 400 level has been acting as a huge resistance, right? So, right, previous resistance, previous support, rejected 3 times here on 401 and 400. So, you know, excuse me, I just have to sneeze, excuse me. So, you know, it looks pretty good, right? It's a solid risk to reward if we break to the downside. Definitely going to, you know, look for 393 if we do. But if we break above 400, right, we do have some room to run, but there's a lot of pressure here, right? We rejected 402, you know, 401.6 or so, 401.3, 400 rejected a bunch of times. You know, so we got to, you know, I took that swing trade because I like the risk to reward, and, you know, I was maybe considering we'd get a gap down, but it's obviously not looking like it. But we are opening up pretty much flat here, right? So decent. I did swing in the money puts, so I don't have to really deal with theta, just in case we, you know, opened up around that 399 level. But we are in this range here. Patterson says, don't think we are seeing past 400 until Fed stops. Yeah, you know, anything can happen, right? We just got to continue to play the levels, right? So at open, it's kind of interesting looking at the names here, right? Tesla up 1.6%, right? So at close yesterday, we had this rising wedge breakdown, right? Rising wedge breakdown. I was considering swinging puts actually on this, right? Seeing if we can get a push down to around 200 or so. But we are opening up 1.6%, right? Interesting spot that we're opening up, right? If we take a look at this chart here, right? We have this previous support, previous resistance, and we rejected it again yesterday around 208 or 209, to be more exact. We're opening up around 211. All right, so up above 214 is the level to watch. Set an alert at that level. Add an alert. If we, you know, test this level, it's it's most likely going to reject. If it doesn't, right, then we're going to push through 217. Right? If this, then that. Watch this level 208 or 209. Let's see. Around 209.4, right, to be more exact, for a bounce. Right? If this doesn't hold, then we're going to, you know, push back down to 205 or so. Coin, definitely going to keep it on high watch. Right? It looks very, very interesting. Multiple bounces off this bottom trend line, held very well, rejected very, you know, consistently across this top trend line here. If it breaks above this high here, or even this green line, 61.5, you're going to keep an eye on this and see how it reacts at the break of this white trend line. Right, it created a low, it created a lower low, and now it's creating a higher low, right? Kind of have a double bottom here. So need to keep an eye on coin. What's Bitcoin doing here? So Bitcoin also consolidating right below resistance. So definitely going to keep an eye on this. Right, this could totally break out and push up and have a, you know, a big move to 73 or so. Amazon looks very well as well. Right, rejected numerous times. It's sitting right at, you know, lower highs, higher lows, bounced multiple times off this level here. Right, previous support. Right, so all the signs are there for a big move coming. I need to see if this could, you know, kind of launch pad through. If not, we're going to need to break through 92.3. Apple also weak, down 0.2%, right? Which is, you know, a big sign. Apple has a huge weighing on the market. So, right, we need to keep an eye on this. It's opening pretty much at support, right? This previous resistance from end of January acted as a support, acted as a resistance, and then it kind of acted as a support yesterday, right? So if this fails through, we're going to push down to 145, where we bounced multiple times on Friday. Everyone understanding so far? Anyone have any questions so far? Let me know if you got any questions. Yes, sweet. Huh. All right. Not yet. Awesome. Coin, here's the chart. So the levels, you know, they're not the most, they're not the best levels, but this is what I got so far. A break of this white trend line would be the most important, honestly. No, I do not wait for candle closes. VIX, need to keep an eye on VIX today, absolutely. Right, we do have this previous resistance that acted, right, rejected, then it acted as support multiple times here. Right, kind of have a triple bottom. If this breaks out today and we see a push up, right, we could see a pretty huge push, which would mean SPY to the downside. So SPY needs to clear 401 clean break. Yeah, SPY needs 400. SPY needs to break 400 for bulls. 400 is a huge level. But we're pretty much opening flat here. And Apple is still pushing down. It's the last day of the month typically. That has nothing. That's no. Just because it's the last day of the month doesn't mean it's gonna do what it did last time. No, I'm definitely not cutting SPY. Definitely not cutting my puts. There's no reason to, right? If we break over 400, then I'd cut, right? Just play the levels. Don't look at the value of the contract to determine if you should cut or not, right? Keep it simple. But we need to break the low from yesterday, right? This low, 396.75 for our SPY puts, needs to break. Right, if that breaks, we should push down to 393 or so. I use all time frames to create my support and resistance levels, but right, the higher the time frame, the more accurate your data is going to be, right? Or the more data there is, the more accurate it's going to be, or the more significant it's going to be. Okay. Right, like if we're going on to the 1 minute here and we're starting to, you know, chart out support and resistance levels, right? Yes, it's going to work, but it's only going to work for a few minutes or so. We have data today. Let me see. So we have PMI in 33 minutes. And then we have CB consumer confidence 47 minutes at 10. Which is going to be important, right? So 10 a.m. data is definitely important today. So SPY is still pushing down here. Let's take a look at extended hours. All right, so it's approaching this low here and it's about to break down here. Interesting. All right, so now SPY is even. Keep it coming, baby. All right, let's keep going. Let's keep going. How far out are your contracts on average? It depends, right? So I took an in the money swing because I didn't want to have to deal with theta. Just in case we did get a slight gap up. But usually I'm going a few strikes out of the money. Target had earnings, right? It's not even, it's opening flat, so all those people are going to get burned. Just need to play the levels, right? If this, then that. AMD below this resistance as well. Right, if this breaks down, we should see a push to around 77 or so. Nvidia rejected again at 238. Right? You know, we could totally see a pullback to 230. Watch 238 above. Square couldn't break out, right? Rejected this trend line multiple times. You see I have my alerts set on everything, right? I always use alerts to help me keep an eye on everything, right? I don't like to look at more than one chart at once. It just, you know, kind of gives me, you know, too much pressure, or, you know, kind of makes me a little anxious. So I just like to look at one chart at a time, and I'll just set alerts. Microsoft kind of flagging here as well, but it's opening up, you know, kind of everything's starting to push red. And that's really all I'm looking at. ZS, right, couldn't break out over this resistance yesterday. This was the one that we saw the flow on. Gonna keep an eye on that, right? Earnings is coming up. Oh, now that's updated on here, March 2nd. Tesla's really the only thing that's strong here in pre-market, right? So if we do see SPY to the upside, watch Tesla. But we're opening up flat, right? It's this could totally be a little flag here too on QQQ. All right, this little reversal wedge. So if the low breaks, right, we should see a little push down on the Qs as well. Set an alert. There we go. So WM flat here. VIX, what's VIX doing? Right, VIX is holding this bottom very, very well, guys. So I could totally see it, you know, launching up to the upside here, which means SPY to the downside. But also, right, if this breaks, that means SPY to the upside, right? You can't have a bias. You just need to play the levels, right? Play the levels, size correctly, and you'll be good on a main account, right? Regarding the challenge account, it's totally, you know, it's totally different ball game. Right? I'm taking large positions, looking for, you know, high risk, high reward setups that could potentially, you know, turn the 1,000 into as much as possible. Massive. We did have some good gains. So unfortunately, we had a bad start on the challenge account, but it's all good, right? We started with 1,000, and it was at like 750, which sucked, but it is what it is. And now we're at, I think I'm at 1,200 or 1,250 or something. You know, but we're you know, we're on a streak here, right? Just need to, you know, stay confident in the trades, and you know, just be consistent. All this size, you know, be aware of, you know, what's going on. That's really it. So SPY flat here now, starting to push lower. Keep an eye on VIX today. Right, here's the SPX chart, right? So, you know, perfect flag, right? Lower highs, higher lows. So, you know, the setup is there for a move today. I think we see a large move today. Unless we just chop inside this zone here, right? If we just chop back and forth, that would suck. No, I don't use moving averages, just support and resistance and patterns. That's it. No moving averages, just support and resistance. That's let's see. Hope it's a big move to the downside. Yeah, I mean, that would be great. That would be great. But we're going to need to break this support. Elliott wave? No, I don't use Elliott wave anymore. It's great to understand market psychology and how people think, because that's what Elliott wave is. But it's too much. It really is too much. Right, so on SPY here as well, right? This totally could be a wedge, right? If we take this trend, change the color, green, I guess, right? And this trend, right? This could totally be a wedge setting up for a move back up to around 400. So just need to be aware of, you know, all situations. But we bounced multiple times, we rejected multiple times, right? Overall move is to the downside here, 400 big resistance above. So the signs are there. So, right, if this, then that, stay consistent. Don't size incorrectly. And that's about it, folks. What questions? Oh, got the hiccups. What questions you guys got? Keep them coming. don't forget about data at 10. All right, it's going to be important. All right, so if you're in positions at 10, be aware of what can happen. Be aware. See, let's go into the Discord. How often do we do small account challenges? We usually have one going on at all times. Last challenge account, I did a 2,000 challenge account. Started with 2,000 and I turned it into, I think, 17,000. Had a slow start, but then we start to ramp up, which is usually how it goes for me. I always start slow. I'm always more cautious in the beginning, as I should, because it's a small amount. And then once I get hot, once I get cooking, then it starts to go. Sea Blast has done a bunch as well. He's had so many successful challenges. The upside totally outweighs the downside, right? He's done 1,000 to 100,000. He's done 1,000 to 1,000,000. He's done 1,000 to 25,000. Right? Obviously, we don't hit them all, right? We lose, right? We still lose, but the upside outweighs the downside, right? You're risking $1,000 to make 100,000. Are you kidding me? Where else can you do that? Nowhere. Yeah, accumulation phase, right? So you start slow, right? You start to get hot. You build momentum, and you carry that into into every single trade. Yeah, $100 to $100,000 in 3 months. That's ridiculous, right? Imagine we turned $100 into $100,000 in 3 months. Now imagine telling someone that doesn't trade that you turned $100 into $100,000. No one would believe you. No. This is why we trade. So it's awesome. Yeah, the beginning is the hardest, especially with the pressure. All right, it is a lot of pressure from everyone. Obviously, we don't want to lose. So SPY now turning red, but Tesla holding pretty well here. Coin as well. Market opens here in 5 minutes. Let's transition over to voice chat and let's have an amazing day. If you guys have any questions, ask me in the Discord and I'll be more than happy to answer. I'll see you guys in the Discord.